a lot of you guys, I was sitting down and watched a video very similar to the one you guys saw, and it was as a result of a gentleman I had met that told me all about the challenge, and I was reluctant to sit down with the gentleman that shared it with me because I did not really care for this company. Now, I open up with that because I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys here have ever had an opinion of something based on an opinion that a friend has about something, and you don't know why they have that opinion, but you all of a sudden adopt it, and all of a sudden, you just say the same things they did. Anybody here? Anybody like me? Mm-hmm. And so, I had heard from some friends something about Visalus, which was not good, and I hadn't heard what it was, but Visalus was a bad company. So this gentleman by the name of Matt Ward reaches out to me, and we connect. He's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm in Miami, Florida. Tells me all about Visalus, and I tell him, he knows a little bit about me. I've been in direct sales for about 16 years. At the time, I was struggling because the down economy really affected our family. I'll tell you a little bit about that very shortly. But I tell him all about what I'm doing and what I've done and what I'm looking for, and he goes, well, I just teamed up with, I'm with Visalus right now. My partner is Nick Sarnicola, one of the co-founders of the company. And where do you live? And I'm like, Miami, Florida. He's like, really? He's like, Nick lives there too. If I set up a meeting, can you meet up with him? And I'm like, no, man, I really appreciate it. It would be, I wish you all the best of luck. I know it's going to go great. Let me know how, keep in touch. Let me know how it goes. And he's like, are you sure? I mean, he's there. I mean, it would be great for you guys to connect and at least get to know what this company's all about. I'm like, nah, it's okay. Anyways, this week my daughter has dance recital. It's not going to be possible. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes people you connect with, people you speak with, you have a good relationship with. In other words, you make a connection, right? I mean, this business is all about people, right? I mean, how many people are here today because a friend or someone they know shared this with them, and because of that relationship, you actually looked at it, listened to them, and actually came here today, right? A lot of you guys, right? So this gentleman really connected with me, and long story short, calls me again the second time. About a week later, he's like, hey, Nick's in town. Are you sure you don't want to meet up with him? I'm like, no, man. My son has karate this week. It's going to be tough. He's like, okay, whatever. Calls me a third time. And I don't know about you guys, but like I said, when there's a good relationship, right? I mean, we all know that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And people do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? So I had built a good rapport with him. I mean, I knew about his kids. I mean, there was a good relationship. And he's like, man, Nick's in town again. Can you meet with him? And, you hear our story now, but we were struggling. For about 2 years, we were in survival mode. The down economy wiped out our business. And for 2 years, I made all kinds of bad decisions and put our family in a very tough financial spot. And long story short, I told him yes. And like many of us, when we don't want to be sold, how do we walk in somewhere? Right? So, all of a sudden, he told me about Nick, and, I hadn't really looked into Nick, so I'm like, what do you do nowadays when you want to check someone out? You go to Facebook, right? So I Googled his name and put his thing, and I started looking at him, and he's Italian. So I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, in my mind, he had like the leather jacket, the slick hair. I'm thinking, this guy's arrogant. We say, the little negative voices, the little negative opinions we start getting in our minds and stuff. So I'm thinking, I can't believe I'm going to meet this guy. One of those, have you guys ever had a situation like that? So I go to meet this guy, you know how my mind is, right? I'm already like, Visalus is horrible, this and that. And long story short, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you're put in that situation, and when you go meet this person, you don't know, it's not necessarily what they say or how they say it, it's just how you feel, right? You get like a good intuition or a good gut feeling when you're with the person, right? And it's funny because it works both ways, right? You might hear about the greatest thing in the world, but if it doesn't feel right, you stay away. Well, all of a sudden I'm feeling good, and I didn't know what it was, but in my mind I was saying, I'm gonna work with this guy. And at the end of after we spoke, and he told me his whole backstory and kind of addressed why some people might have given me a bad opinion about Visalus and cleared it up, I was like, I'm in. And so, the good news was that I was in. The bad news was I had to go back home and tell my wife all about this. And, so I go home, and this was our situation, guys. I've been in direct sales for many years. I had my years of learning and, banging my head against the wall because I was not teachable and coachable. And finally, when I opened up, I had a mentor. And so I got into a 6-figure plus income and helped some people do that. However, when the down economy came in 2008, our business went down, and I just couldn't get anything going. So for 2 years, I tried several things. So, here I am telling my wife about something else, right? So I'm thinking in my mind, how am I going to creatively tell her about this so that she accepts it? Because you want your significant other on board, at least you try, right? And so I show up and I tell her, babe, you won't believe this. We're going to be able to go to the beach without t-shirts again. She's like, really? What do you mean? I'm like, babe, remember how we used to be in shape and all that stuff, and all of a sudden we've neglected our health. We're going to get back in shape. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I go, you know how the paparazzi's calling us and knocking on our doors? Not because we're famous guys. You know how they're knocking on our doors because we owe money, right? We're going to eliminate all that. They're not going to knock on our doors. They're not going to call us. You know how the repo man took our cars? We're going to get cars again. And so, I'm trying to soften her up and tell her all that stuff. And finally she goes, so how much is this thing going to cost? And I'm like, well, it was only $4.99. She's like, it was only $4.99. She's like, really? She's like, plus shipping and handling? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, interesting. She goes, our account was negative? And the money that was left, what was available there, was sufficient enough to pay the electricity bill, which was due tomorrow. So I don't know how you're going to work this out, but good luck. So I don't know about you guys, but when you put someone you love, you trust, your significant other through some tough times, not intentionally, unintentionally, right? With good intentions, but things haven't worked out over and over and over again for a while, and here you come with another latest and greatest idea. It's kind of like when they tell you that, it's kind of like they went and gave you like a low blow, right? They knocked in the stomach, you're like, you don't know what to do. And literally I froze. She was like, why don't you just focus on what you were doing? And and I'm like, babe, it's not working. This is what we depend on. This is how I survive. It's not working out. So I share that with you because I ended up calling Nick the next day, and I told Nick, you're gonna have to give me a little break. Give me a month or two. I need to fix some personal problems. I know we're gonna work together, but give me some time. And long story short, left it, pushed it aside. However, I started taking the challenge. I lost 23 pounds, 5 inches off my waist the first 6 weeks. And I don't know how it is here in Lancaster, but when you walk into someone's house in Miami and you've gained a little bit of weight, they're like, hey, eating good, huh? Things are going well, right? And when you've lost some weight, they don't, remember, people think negative. They're like, are you sick? Everything okay with you? And then when they know you're not sick, they're like, what are you doing? How can I get it, right? And so people were asking me, what are you doing, right? And nothing, curiosity killed the cat, right? I just started getting, we live in a social world. I went back to Facebook, started seeing all these crazy, weight before and after stories, not only weight loss, but fitness stories, people running triathlons, it's like stuff that I was like, man, these products actually work. And started seeing some BMW stories and the big checks. And, I tell people all the time, there's 2 dates when you sign up in Visalus. There's a date you actually sign on that dotted line, and the date goes from your head to your heart. And what I mean by that is this is different things for different people. But a lot of people think it's just about weight loss. Some people think it's just about money or BMWs. And when you really understand it's not about that, it's about helping other people that are praying and looking for a solution to improve health, to improve finances. In other words, help other people that are looking for solutions. When you understand it, it just takes a whole different world. And it's different things for different people. Sometimes it's an event like this. Sometimes it's a bigger one where you kind of relate to some stories and you see it's possible. For me, I'll tell you quite simply, I woke up one morning. The situation in our household for about 2 years was, we're in survival mode. So literally, the money would end and the month would keep on going. In other words, it was like the 21st or 22nd of the month, and there was nothing else coming in for, about a week. But there, so all the milk we had and food and the gas, and I'm married, we've got 3 kids. We became very creative. And I don't know if some of you guys can relate to that, but I know a lot of people have gone through a similar situation, some for a smaller period of time, some for a longer, and if you haven't, people around you that have. That's what we went through. And so, I wake up in the morning, I'm going downstairs, I'm all like, the kids, morning dash with the kids, all uniforms, lunch, this, that. And when I'm going downstairs, I'll never forget it because it was like, I was late and we got to run, it's always that mad dash. So I'm going downstairs, and as I go downstairs, my wife's like, hey, do you have $23? I'm like, no. She's like, well, Ashley needs to go on a field trip, and we need $23. I'm like, okay, I don't have it. She's like, well, we need to get $23. I just remembered this morning, and she's got to go. I'm like, well, babe, I don't have it. And $23 is not a lot of money, but when you don't have it, right, it's like $1 million. And at the moment, guys, it's when you've gone through an extended period of time, the piggy banks have been tapped. All the little money you had in this pocket, and that didn't exist anymore. Literally, I would go, I had already gone through the periods of going with coins to the gas station and, dropping the coins and, smelled funny, all that stuff we had gone through. And so here she is wanting to, yeah, some of you guys have gone through that. It wasn't fun at the time, I laugh now, but, so I share that with you because, you know, when she tells me that, you know, she was determined that my daughter Ashley was gonna go. And so her first instinct was, well, she ran. And she ran to our office, got in front of the computer, you know, went to online banking. And you know, guys, online banking is one of those things, you know, when you're going through a tough time like that and you know that there's nothing good there, it's kind of like the late night news, right? You don't watch it unless you want to become suicidal, depressed, you know. And so my wife's there in the hopes that a check had not gone through. She was, you know, maybe thinking something hadn't gone through. I could run to the ATM and take out some money and you know, actually can go to this field trip. And when she saw that, you know, it was the way I thought it was, and she should have known it was, man, her composure changed. And, you know, because there's kids here, I can't say what she said, but it wasn't pretty. And I'll tell you, it wasn't what she said, it wasn't how she said it, how she looked or anything like that. It was really how I felt. And that day I said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Has anybody ever had a day where you said, enough is enough, I don't want to do it anymore? And guys, I'll tell you, those 2 years of, I mean, think about it. You've gone through all that. I mean, you start doubting yourself. I mean, I'm a man of faith. I believe a lot in God. And I knew something was coming, and I was asking, but however, I was tested. So, you know, it was like, you know, we've gone through a lot. And that day I just said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And that was the day I called Nick, and I said, Nick, I'm ready. What do I got to do? He's like, oh, really? You're ready? And I'm like, yes. And I said, number one, I'm hungry. Number two, I'm coming with a teachable spirit. Obviously, I mean, I've had success in the past. However, the last 2 years don't prove that. And you've got to, I'm coming with a teachable spirit. And number three, Nick, I know that not everybody's going to do this. I know that this is not about convincing people. I'm just going to, you know, share the tools that you have and find people that are looking for this at this moment. And the rest, I'm planting seeds and moving forward. And so long story short, in our first week, guys, we did what most people probably take about 6 months or a year to do personally for themselves, or really never do, right? Because sometimes we share this with 2 or 3 people and somebody goes, boo, and we just stop talking to people, right? Has that ever happened to anybody here? I'm not talking to anybody else. Well, we knew we were up for a battle, you know, and I just knew that my job was not to convince. I didn't want people to say yes. I was looking for people that saw it like I did, right? Because I wanted to get going with people that wanted to do it. So I literally got my cell phone, made a list of over 200 people, helped enroll about 16 people the first week. We qualified for a BMW the first week. So that was exciting. We made about $3,000 our first week, which is really exciting. I mean, who would be excited to make about $3,000, right? Mm-hmm. However, when that was deposited in our bank account, it kind of went like this. And you know, it's funny now, but at the time it wasn't, because I'm like, you know, all this work and it's like there's nothing to show for it. And it was because our account was negative, plus everything that was, you know, those were like a bunch of vultures waiting to like collect right after it was in. And so I told Nick, how can we take this? I need this to go now. How can we take this to the next level within system? You know, everything. How can I get this going and get more people involved? And he said, Freddie, you know, I'm glad you asked. You know, I had mentioned this to you before, but bottom line, events are really what propel your business. And he said, there's a regional event going on next weekend. It's funny because there's one here next weekend. There's a regional event next weekend. And my number one advice to you is to load up a van with people and get them there. Because at the end of the day, if you want this to grow, you need other people that see it like you and want it like you for their reasons, not yours and mine. And he said, so my number one advice is get a van, get them there. And guys, literally, we took a van. I mean, it was, I live in Miami, Florida. This event was in Jacksonville, Florida. We woke up like at 4 in the morning. It was like a 5-6 hour drive. You know, we bonded very well in the morning. It was pretty interesting. You know, a lot of people I just met because I never worked with before, and it was really exciting. But everybody that went there, guys, you know, everybody connects with different people for different reasons. Can we agree with that, right? And so there were so many stories and stuff like that. And you know, I'll tell you those one story. There's always different stories. A couple named Dale and Linda Croy. I think you see them in the video. They're an older couple. You know, the wife, Linda, starts sharing her story, and you know, we're like, wow. And Dale gets up there, and the first thing he says, he's like, I'm 74 years old. What's your excuse? And they were ambassadors. They were earning like $20,000 a month, and we were like, let's go to Miami. Let's go. We were like, he just opened our mind. And so I share that with you because we got back, and we helped 7 people qualify for a BMW our first month. Our business took off as a result of the event. The belief, passion, conviction, and the people that went, I mean, I couldn't stop them, right? They knew what they had in their hands, and they wanted to share it with other people for their reasons, not mine, right? And so I realized the power of events. And nothing. It's 32 months we've been with the company. We have over 700 people that have qualified for a BMW in our team so far. That means 700 families that when they qualify are earning an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month, plus the car payment. So I don't know about you, but an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month, would that make a difference in anyone's family here? Yeah. Absolutely, right? And that's just for, helping 25 to 50 people improve their health, right? And, that people start sharing it. Within that, we have about 32 families that have created a multiple six-figure income. And I don't tell you that to impress you, but to impress upon you really the fact that most of these people have never done direct sales. They just got excited about a result or a transformation a family member or friend got. All of a sudden, they got a check in the mail for $50 or $100, and they're like, wow, I'm doing good. I got paid. I have no clue what I'm doing. What if I actually learn how to do this? And they learned the system, and the small victories led to bigger and bigger victories. And now they're some of the top leaders in our company, and some in not only our team but in the company. And it's just validation that what we have is very powerful. So guys, I'm really excited to be here. One of the main reasons I came out is because of this event. We have this Philly regional next weekend. Who's already registered? Awesome. Guys, I'll tell you, my number one advice is to not only be there, but to not go alone. It is going to be a very powerful event, and I can tell you, 32 months ago, that was the life changer for me, and for a lot of the families, and the almost 30-some thousand people in our team our team exists today as a result of an event just like that. So I share that with you because, guys, Visalus, who are we, right? You guys saw the video. It was really exciting. When I first saw this, I was at Nick's house, and he played a DVD, and I was like, this is odd. Why don't you just tell me what this is all about, right? And he was like, that's the system. And I share that with you because this is an 8-year-old company, guys, that had to reinvent itself, like a lot of us, after the 2008 downturn of the economy. And just like a lot of companies, I don't know, is there a product? No. Yeah, there is back there. Our number one product, can somebody bring me a Vipack real quick? Our number one product is, and I still believe it still is number one because I love it, is a product called the Vipack. For the first 5 years of Visalus, thank you, this was the number one selling product. This is, it's like, if someone was to tell you to go to the health food store and get the best of all these ingredients and the best of everything is in here, pretty much, to summarize it, to not get too complicated or technical. And bottom line, it was our number one product. The challenge is, in a down economy, when somebody has to choose between a $100 vitamin, that's what it boils down to, right? Or gas, for the car, what's gonna win?
Gas.
That's for the car. $100 vitamin or feeding the family? Who's gonna get fed, right? So this became a luxury, not a necessity. Guess what happened when the downturn of the economy, when all of a sudden people had to choose between luxuries and necessities? What happened to the luxuries? Right? So Visalus's numbers, they're about to close. And they said, how do we reinvent ourselves? How do we grow in a down economy where people don't think the same, they don't buy the same, and they obviously don't have the same income? How do we grow in spite of that? Because it's not going to change right away. And it's probably going to take a while. You guys with me? Mm-hmm. So they said, okay, if we're going to change, we need to have a couple things different. Number one, we need to have a message that most people feel comfortable being a part of and also sharing with other people. In other words, 97% of the people in North America are not entrepreneurial. 3% are. In other words, if I was to talk to most people and say, hey, you want to make some money? I'm like, no. It's like, what are you talking about? That's weird, right? It's just, you guys with me? But if I say it differently, then, they might be open. And so they figured out that in coming with a message, they came out with the Body by Bite challenge message, the 90-day challenge message. This message, guys, I want you guys to understand, no matter what your background is, analytical engineer, stay-at-home mom, doctor, sales professional, college kid, no matter what your background is, if you join a gym, if you register for a marathon, if you sign up for the local soccer club, you're naturally going to feel, if you're ready for it, you're naturally going to do it, and you're not going to feel uncomfortable calling your friends and telling them to join you. Okay? So, Levi? Yeah, Levi. Like the gene? Yes. So Levi, if I just join the gym, I'm going to call Levi and say, hey Levi, I just joined the gym. I'm going to go every day at 10. Want to go with me? Yeah, sure. If we're friends, this is not an awkward conversation, right? Josh, I just registered for a marathon. I know it's nuts, but remember how we used to do it? I put your name down. Come on, let's do it, right? It's something we've done before. It's not weird. You're with me? You were next. So Stephanie, I just joined a tennis club. Remember we used to play it? It's every day, every Saturday at 10 in the morning. You want to do it with me? You guys understand? The 90-day challenge is, hey, I just took on a 90-day challenge to lose 25 pounds, do it with me. Hey, I just took on a 90-day challenge to gain 15 pounds of muscle, do it with me. Hey, I just joined a 90-day challenge to improve my time on a 5K, do it with me. You guys with me? That's the first thing Visalus did. The second thing they said was, okay, right now, let me borrow this. Right now, everybody has this perception that nutritional supplements are a luxury, not a necessity. You guys with me? Mm-hmm. How do we change that perception? If you notice, no matter what kit you select, from the basic kit all the way to the fit kit, the balance kit, for the balance kit, you don't need to know all the names of the kits to be able to do well. No matter what kit you select, every kit has meal replacement shakes. So literally, you're redirecting money from your food budget into something less expensive and way healthier than what most people are eating today. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this obesity epidemic. So bottom line, if you eat, you save money. Anybody eat here?
Yeah.
So nobody can say, Freddy, well, that's too expensive. No. If you eat, you save money and improve health. Bingo. Number 3, they said, okay, how do we need a retention tool. Because in direct sales, how many have done direct sales before? Awesome. Well, auto ship is one of those things that for some people, the entrepreneur, it's good. The person is not, is like, I don't like that stuff, right? But it's vital for this type of business if you want to have residual income, have repeat business, right? So they said, how can we maintain it but eliminate the negative? So they came out with a 3 for free program, where literally if you refer 3 friends to get on the same kit you got on, your next month is free, and every month after that, as long as they keep on ordering, right? So as long as you have 3 people ordering every month, your following month is free if somebody gets the same kit you got on or one higher. So, free, when it's free, it's delicious, right? I don't know what they do with the formulation. I don't know if they change it, but it's better, right? Who'd agree with me? Free is better? No. Some people, no matter what I say, crazy even from my end. Okay, so I share that with you because last year we gave away over $47 million in free products through this 3 for free program, guys. We give away more free products than most companies sell right now. And that's huge. The program is working. From a retention standpoint, think about it. Somebody's getting it for free. They're not going to tell a company saying, stop sending it for free, right? Obviously they're going to take it. If they don't want it, they're going to sell it, right? So it's win-win. You guys with me? Fourth thing the company did was from a business standpoint. The car program. I think, I don't know if I'm going to go there with a car program. We've all heard of the pink Cadillac, right? And, direct sales, car program is nothing new. However, historically, in most companies, the car program has been at a very high pay rank where most people either never qualify or they take 3 to 5 years because they got to develop, they got to go through a process. And that's just the way it's been, right? It's been fine. However, Visalus was one of the first companies to come out with an inverted car program. Where literally at your second pin rank, you qualify for this car program. And let's face it, guys, we live in a world where people need to see it to believe it. On the product side, the weight loss stories are validation that the product works. On the business side, the car program validates the business works, right? And it's been a phenomenal program. Over 15,000 people have qualified for this program since in the last 3 years. So it's very powerful. And I share that with you really because, think about it. You talk to your friend Justin, you say, hey, Justin, I got this program. He's like, well, when you get the car, call me. And, whether it takes you a week, a month, a couple months, or 6 months, you show up to his house and you go, meet me. And when he comes out, you go, bam, told you so. It's a different kind of feel, right? He's like, what's this, right? So guys, I share that with you because, right now, Visalus, this Body by Body Challenge message has a little over 3 years that's been out in the market. We sold over $1 billion already, just in the US and Canada alone. So that's a huge feat. Big round of applause for that. And last year we had about 1.5 million people join the challenge for the first time as consumers, meaning people that wanted nothing to do with business, they just wanted to improve their health. That put us in sales over $620 million for the year, just in the US and Canada. It also put us as the number 2 weight loss company in North America. Number 1 being Weight Watchers. You guys ever heard of that? Mm-hmm. Number 3 being Nutrisystem, and Jenny Craig, and number 4 being Nutrisystem. Now guys, those companies spend a lot of money on television with movie stars and whatnot, and we in 3 years, those are 30-plus-year-old companies, were able to go to number 2. And Weight Watchers knows we're coming because they give you points for our shakes. So guys, something's happening, guys. And I share that with you. 2 more facts I want to share. We were recently recognized by the Direct Selling News Top 100. Out of the top 100 companies globally, direct sales, we're recognized as the #1 fastest growing percentage growth 2012. Guys, that's huge. You know, with big conglomerate companies that are out there growing and stuff internationally, we're just in the US and Canada, we're #1. We're also recognized in another category as #3. I know most people don't like to recognize #3, right? I mean, 3 is like, you know, what is that, bronze in the Olympics? So, you know, bronze is cool, you got a medal, but it's not gold, right? However, I want you guys to hear this stat because it kind of puts everything into perspective. The #1 incremental growth company, meaning from 2011 to 2012, the company that grew the most in sales was a little company called Herbalife. Anybody heard of them? Yes. $600 million in incremental sales, 2011 to 2012. That's big, right? #2 was a little company called Nu Skin. Anybody heard of Nu Skin? $500 million in growth. #3 was a little company called Amway. Anybody heard of Amway? $400 million in growth from 2011 to 2012. They were tied with a very tiny company called Visalus, who also did $400 million in incremental growth last year. Now, why did I share this stat with you guys? Because obviously, the 3 companies I mentioned, these are companies that have been around 30 plus years. In the case of Amway, 50 plus. They're also companies that do billions of dollars in annual sales. In the case of Amway, 12 billion, right? And then there are also companies that are in 85 plus countries. We are a 3-year-old with our message company. We just did 600 million, and we're in 2 countries. Just opened our 3rd. What do you think is going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years as we keep on expanding here in North America, and as this starts going into other countries, guys? I usually say on Facebook, boom. And what's neat about it, guys, is we've only just begun. Here in North America, guys, I can tell you, you know, our mission is to combat obesity, right? This whole Project 10, I mean, who's got the shirts? Big raise your hand. This is awesome, guys. This whole Project 10 thing, it's just amazing. You know, every time the company in 2013 came out with this initiative where they give away $10,000 to 10 people who lose 10 pounds every single week. And even if you don't win, just by qualifying, just by losing 10 pounds and filling out the form, they'll send you the shirt and give a bag of shakes to kids in need. They're going through a crisis through obesity and at-risk kids for obesity. They're giving them shakes. Guys, it's an awesome cause. And so, you know, 232 million people overweight and obese in North America, guys. We've only impacted about 2 million. There's a lot to go. So I don't know what brought you guys here today. I can tell you, you know, when I came in, you guys heard my story. You know, my main mission was to get as far away from broke as possible. Because I just, you know, I couldn't go any further, right? From a health perspective, I can tell you I've always been fit. I've always been in shape. I've always eaten right. When finances were challenged, I never ate right. I didn't care about working. I was in survival mode. I didn't care. So it's funny how things change, right? Perspectives change, right? You have a family, you have kids, you're trying to survive. And so I don't know where you guys find yourself today. You know, maybe you're here today and you're like thinking, wow, you know, I was invited today and they told me there was this Wendy's Frosty to help me look good. And here they're talking about BMWs and all this, you know, all this crazy stuff this guy's talking from Miami. You know, I don't know what brought you here today. But I can tell you, I don't believe in coincidences. I'm a firm believer that good situations and bad, including good relationships and bad, have prepared us for this moment, guys. We're on a mission to change lives. We've done it, and now we've started a second wave here in North America, guys, and it starts in Philly next weekend. And my #1 suggestion for all of you guys, if you want to be a part of this, guys, definitely be there next weekend. If you haven't joined us yet, I know some people are going to get a little upset at me. My #1 advice, if you haven't joined yet, and you have to decide between being in Philly next week and joining, be a Philly. Because I can tell you, it means nothing to be a part of this if it hasn't gone into your heart. And that's where you'll see the stories, you'll meet the co-founders, you'll get to meet real people and go, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. Oh, that's how they did it. This is the process. And guys, I'm telling you, you'll come out of there really understanding this. And you know, I'll tell you, this business, the more you understand it, it's not about you. It's about who else can we impact? Who else can we change? You know, when I got started, like I said, my mission was to get as far away from broke as possible. We've already, like, far surpassed that. What motivates me? I mean, I'll tell you in the last month, I've probably been in about 20 different cities. I mean, just the last week alone, I was in Seattle, Washington, Puerto Rico. Last night I did a big event in Miami. I'm here now. I'm going to go back. I'm going to be doing some other cities. I'm on a mission because my passion is to empower and inspire people. I mean, what drives me right now, who else can I find that's in a similar situation or wants to help people in a similar situation that I can inspire with my story, with my energy, with my drive? And that's what drives me. I love it. You know, I love hearing people make, you know, when you get what this is all about, I mean, it's a different drive. You know, when people tell you no, you just, it doesn't bother you, right? And so I don't know what brought you guys down here today, but number one, if you only came to hear about this challenge, and we've been yapping around, and you're like, you know, get on the challenge, guys. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. You know, if you get on the challenge for 90 days and you don't get the results you want, we'll call the company and let them know, and it's a 90-day results guarantee, right? So I don't know about you guys, but if you were to go to some of these other companies I mentioned and tell them, you know, you wanted your money back after 90 days of taking the product, so you didn't get the results you wanted, they'd probably call the cops on you and say you were a baker act, right? So we're, you know, right now we're doing that. So get with a person that invited you. Get on one of the kits, guys. There's no risk. The shakes taste delicious. And if you tell 3 friends, you can get it for free just by inviting them over, having them watch the first part of the video, sampling a shake, and, you know, deciding what's best for them. And number 3, if you came here for the opportunity, not only to improve your health, to get it for free, but improve the finances, guys, I can tell you, the timing cannot get better. There's incredible leadership already here in Pennsylvania and surrounding areas, and Virginia and Maryland and all that, guys. And like I said, next weekend you'll get to see all of them recognized on stage, get to meet them, get to connect with them, hear their stories. And I can tell you guys, if you've been praying, if you've been looking for something, guys, look no more. You found it. You found it. I can tell you with the utmost clarity and just, I know that I know because it's what I live, right? And so I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and for those that want to learn how to do this, we're going to go through the Getting Started training for those that want. But otherwise, if you're ready to go, get with the person that invited you. Thank you so much for coming out. God bless, and good night.